Hey, what's up guys? Alan with Sonic Electronics, and we're obviously here at the Amp Dyno. We got something unique and special for you today. Every once in a while we come across something that's a little bit different, and that's the reason why we're here. So we want to put this to the test. This is the Sony MEX-XB100BT AM/FM radio, CD, Bluetooth, iPod, USB, aux. The list goes on, but the key thing that we want to talk about here today is that this thing right here, 100 × 4 max power. However, the RMS is 40 × 4 at 4 ohms. So for those of you that don't know, most of your aftermarket radios, in fact just about all of them, are pretty much 50 watts by 4, and that's its max power. You're typically actually getting around 18 to 20 watts RMS at 4 ohms. So this is actually pretty special. This is a high-powered deck with a built-in high-power 4-channel amplifier. Of course, it has tons of other features. It still has front, rear, and sub pre-out, which are indeed 5 volts, which are really cool. It actually has something called sub-direct, which we'll talk about at the end of the video. However, what we want to go ahead and do is we want to start by putting this thing on the dyno and see if it lives up to what Sony claims it to be at 40 by 4 at 4 ohms. So let's get this test started. We may throw in a couple extra tests, just depending on how well it does, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so we're back and the results are in, and they are freaking fantastic. At both certified and dynamic, at 4 ohms, we got 42 watts. That's an incredible amount of power coming out of this radio here. So that's what Sony says, that's what their owner's manual indicates. It does say only 4 ohms. It gives us an indication that it puts out 40 by 4 at 4. However, we're gonna do a little extra. We're gonna push it, we're gonna put it at 2 ohms, and we're actually gonna see what this thing can output. And based off those results, if everything works, then I would expect some good numbers here. So we're gonna go ahead and try that. We'll be back. All right guys, we're back. We did our test. You obviously know our 4 ohm test did extremely well. We got 42 watts at 14 volts, both certified and dynamic. Now our 2 ohm results are incredible. We got 68 watts at 14 volts certified, and our dynamic, we actually got 75 watts at 2 ohms at 14.4 volts. So definitely an awesome radio. I can't believe that you can actually get this much power out of a chassis like that. Obviously, granted, keep in mind, we did the 2 ohm test just because we want to see what it could do. However, Sony recommends, based off their owner's manual, 4 ohms for all 4 channels. We actually did a little bit more investigating, and after talking to Sony, they've actually done some in-field testing with this radio, and they said the radio works great at 2 ohms, even though it doesn't actually specify it in the owner's manual. But we always like to just go by what the manual says as far as our recommendations. Earlier I said something about sub-direct. The sub-direct feature is really neat. It actually, once turned on, allows you to use one of the rear channels of the radio to power a sub. Actually will give you a low pass filter that you can control for one of the rear channels, which is pretty unique. Of course, you might say, well, of course, at 4 ohms, which is the recommended, 42 watts may not be a lot of power. Even if you wanted to push it at 2 ohms, your 68 to 72 watts isn't a ton either, but that just goes to show you the flexibility and the functionality that this radio will offer in different configurations that you could set it up with, and we're going to go over that in another video. There is going to be that link in the bottom of the video where we'll actually discuss more about all the options that we have. But I do want to point out the back of this radio does look slightly different than other aftermarket radios. It does have a heftier power and ground that the radio obviously will require. It has a 15 amp fuse on it. So most of your aftermarket radios aren't going to have this. The power and ground wire and accessory and everything are going to be really thin, just like this. But obviously, because of the amount of power that this built-in amplifier produces, it obviously needs the right amount of current. So in some cases, you may need to run this power wire to the battery or another power source that be able to supply the radio with enough current so that way it can produce that kind of power that we got here. So once again, I'm Alan with Sonic Electronics, and we'll see you on the next video. So click the link below for more information. See you next time.